Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akeredoluale. Tonight, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo asks African leaders to give priority to actions that will eliminate conflicts in Africa as he addresses the AU summit in Addis Ababa. Federal government criticizes Cameroon over forceful repatriation of Nigerian refugees displaced by Boko Haram. Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) releases timetable for the recall process of Kogi West Senator Dino Melaye. And death toll from tanker fire in Ahmedpur, Pakistan last week rises to 200.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's manufacturing index rises a third consecutive month in June.
While on sports news, Wimbledon defending champion Andy Murray begins title defense with easy win over Alexander Bublik under 2 hours.
And from Abuja, the National Population Commission says Nigeria lacks proper data on family planning.
We begin tonight from the AU summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, advised African leaders to be firm and take up the challenge of eliminating violence on the continent. In his address to the African leaders, Professor Osinbajo said peace and security should be paramount in Africa. According to him, quote, "We need to rekindle our political will and determination not to bequeath to the next generation of Africa the burden of wars, poverty and misery. It is therefore necessary for the Assembly to reaffirm the overriding importance of holistically addressing the root causes of violent conflicts in our countries," end of quote. The acting president, who is back in the country, also called on the UN to continue to reinforce its support for Africa's peace and security agenda. Meanwhile, Nigeria is not hiding its dislike for Cameroon for forcefully repatriating thousands of its citizens from that country without recourse to international law. Those repatriated are refugees displaced by Boko Haram attacks in the northeast. The Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Dambazao, who spoke at a meeting with a delegation from the UN Refugee Agency, says all parties are supposed to abide by the principles of a tripartite agreement signed in March of 2017, which stipulates voluntary return of Nigerian refugees only when conditions are conducive. Our correspondent, Gloria Ume Ezeoke, reports.
Women and children paying the highest price of the consequences of an insurgency. Over 2 million people have been displaced in the last 6 years of Boko Haram attacks in the northeast. When the military regained some of the communities formerly under the stronghold of the sect, several of the displaced persons started returning to their ancestral homes. In the wake of this, over 12,000 refugees were forcefully returned to Nigeria from Cameroon as at May 2017, according to the UNHCR. This move not only brought concerns, but gave rise to the signing of a tripartite agreement between Nigeria, the UNHCR, and Cameroon, which might have been breached. The agency said another 889 refugees, mostly children, were forcefully returned from Cameroon on June 17. Alarmed over a fresh incident which has seen the forceful return of these refugees from Cameroon, the United Nations Refugee Agency is meeting with the Minister of Interior, Mr. Abdurrahman Dambazao.
We have seen instances where, and we are very worried about it, where people were not voluntarily returning to Nigeria. And this is a problem for the international community. It is a problem first and foremost for the people, but it's also a problem for the countries, and it's a problem for the international community, because the principle is that returns should take place only on the basis of a free and informed choice.
This meeting is coming against a backdrop of warnings from the UN to Cameroon over forced repatriation of refugees. The tripartite agreement came under scrutiny. The Minister of Interior promised to take urgent steps to address it.
Very soon we hope to have the first meeting on the tripartite commission that would see to the execution of the agreement. We know that there are a couple of challenges here and there which we are trying to see how we can sort out. With your indication that you're visiting Cameroon, we hope that by the time you get there, all gray areas will be sorted out.
The UN Refugee Agency is hoping a regional approach would be adopted to ensure protection for all those fleeing insecurity and persecution in northeast Nigeria. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian military seems to be sniffing out Boko Haram terrorists from their hideouts, as 700 of them today surrendered after a series of military raids. The Army spokesman, Brigadier General Sani Usman, says 70 of the 700 are already being profiled and more are expected to come from their hideouts in the coming days. Among those who surrendered are key commanders and influential members. One of them matches suspect number 225 on the Boko Haram terrorists' most wanted list released by the Nigerian Army. In the meantime, the governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, has met with some heads of missions in Nigeria. During the meeting in Owerri, the governor appeals to the envoys to join hands with Nigeria in the fight against insurgency. Governor Okorocha told 27 foreign mission defense attaches that there should be more collaboration amongst world leaders to fight terrorism and insurgency.
As you're aware, our nation is going through a very difficult moment of challenges of Boko Haram insurgents. And this terrorism act is everywhere in the world now. No country is safe from terrorism. No country is safe from insurgents or is free from it. It's obvious that if your country is not attacked today, one day your country will be attacked. So it has become duty incumbent on all leaders in the whole world to now unite using all the military forces to fight this ugly menace in the name of terrorism in our world. This is a global village, and an injury to one nation is an injury to another nation.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, appears set to commence the recall process of the Kogi West Senator Dino Melaye as it releases the timetable today. A letter from the INEC office signed by the Secretary of the Commission, Mrs. Augusta Ogwaku, explains that the Commission is invoking the powers conferred on it under Section 68 and 110 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and the 2010 Electoral Act in commencing the process. On July 10, INEC will place notice of verification to Senator Melaye's constituency office in Lokoja. That will be followed on July the 31st with a submission of applications by interested observers at INEC headquarters in Abuja, which will then be followed by submission of names of verification agents through a letter addressed to the resident electoral commissioner, and then the process will terminate in August with the declaration of the outcome of verification at the constituency office of the local government in Lokoja, Kogi State. Meanwhile, Senator Melaye has been reacting to stories on his proposed recall. Commenting on his purported recall, Senator Melaye said he is a child of God and those, quote, who did not call him cannot recall him. INEC had written to Senator Melaye intimating him of plans to commence his recall as requested by some members of his constituency. The House of Representatives today held an interactive session for security operatives where they condemned what they called the worrisome deployment of military personnel to places where ordinarily men of the Nigerian police should oversee. During the session, lawmakers and some advocacy bodies agreed that a better approach should be adopted in the deployment of security operatives, particularly soldiers. The Executive Director of the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Mr. Clement Wanko, says the session will assist lawmakers improve their oversight mandate to Nigerians. Our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, has that report.
In different parts of Nigeria, security agencies are working to confront security challenges in one form or the other. It's a situation that is the focus of those gathered here. It's an interactive needs assessment and capacity building workshop for security sector committees of the House of Representatives. The facilitators observe that there is a need to address new security challenges in the country.
As we address new and emerging challenges and threats to security, it becomes more important to consolidate the quality of oversight and also to forge new ways to deal with these problems.
That in carrying out their responsibilities, the security services work in a way that provides guarantees for the human rights of citizens.
One of the lawmakers observes that the workshop is timely as the National Assembly is determined to help tackle the security challenges in the country.
We all need to understand a lot of things to be able to understand the challenges that the military, indeed the security sector is facing.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, who's represented by the Chief Whip of the House, observes that security challenges facing the country has led to some security agencies being pushed to do more than they should.
It is worrisome that Nigeria is permanently in a state of emergency as the armed forces are deployed in more than 28 states of the Federation in peacetime. The armed forces have virtually taken over routine police work in Nigeria. It is no longer acting in aid of civil authorities, but has become the civil authority itself.
He, however, says the House is committed to efforts that will address the pressing needs of the security sector and will also enable the House carry out effective oversight. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
From the legislature to the judiciary, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onnoghen, is appealing to Nigerians to live within the confines of the law of the country to foster peace and unity. He says the era of impunity is over, warning that the law will not hesitate to administer justice to anyone found culpable of any crime.
It's his first official visit back to his home state since his appointment as Chief Justice of the Federation, and top dignitaries, including the governor of Niger State, past governors of the state, past and serving lawmakers joined the state governor, Benayade, to welcome Justice Walter Onnoghen.
Honorable Justice Walter Samuel Khan.
The first man from the state to attain the position, Governor Benayade is confident that the nation's judiciary will be better for it.
We, the people of Cross River, we are proud with your legal history. We are particularly proud because I'm sure by the time you are done and the fullness of time, the people of Cross River will once more say we are truly proud that indeed we're not just leading in tourism. We're not just leading because we're a very elegant class of people, but truly that we have very brilliant superstars who have actually risen to the top.
He also presents Justice Onnoghen gifts, including a Bible, to remind him of his responsibilities in the discharge of his duties.
For each and every one of us to try to live within the confines of the law and the constitution of this country. If we are able to do just that, we will be sure of ensuring peace and unity. We will be sure of meting out justice.
Some of the residents of the state share their wishes and prayers for their own.
For us, we don't have doubt in him because anybody who has taken note of his track record would have seen that he's a man who has moved not through the push of any godfather or any other factor except competence and excellence.
I know him that he's one upright Conservarian, he's one upright jurist that will bring a reform in the judiciary that will see justice done to all manners of persons without fear or favor. I would believe that he will do that.
The people of Cross River State say they are proud to be part of the writing of Nigeria's history, especially at this time when calls for reforms in the nation's judiciary are on the front burner.
In part two, after the break, the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, says the federal government is targeting $1 billion from taxpayers. Please join us again.